think it's more exciting, I think, than nerves. We're getting used to this now, aren't we, with this England team, not just under Thomas Tuchel, Gareth Southgate, but majority of the squad, or certainly the big players in the squad, have been on this journey now over the last sort of decade or so, and we've probably never had it so good, certainly for a long time, where I think for the last 4 or 5 tournaments we've reached at least the quarter-finals and given ourselves, a fighting chance, and these lads have done that again with a different manager. Credit to them.
And I mean, I think it's fair to say we've seen a variety of performances from England. What do you expect to see from them in this game, and how key is that first 20 minutes going to be?
Well, I think every part of the game is going to be absolutely vital. Could go to extra time, could go to penalties. I don't think there's too much between the teams. I'm hoping that this game has got elements of the Croatia game in it, where you're playing against a side who fancy themselves, are a good team. Argentina are better than Croatia, but I certainly don't think they'll be getting everybody behind the ball. They'll try and attack us, and will that leave space for ourselves to attack? And maybe it'll be a really exciting game, end to end. Their fullbacks like to go high and wide because they don't really play with wingers, Argentina, so maybe that's something we can exploit as well. So I'm hoping that it's a different type of game than what we've seen for the majority of England throughout this competition, because even though we're in the semi-finals and Kane and Bellingham have been absolutely outstanding, 2 of the best players in the tournament, I still don't think England have been anywhere near the best in performance-wise, and hence why we've seen Thomas Tuchel come out so much on the front foot after the Norway game.
And of course, the big priority is going to have to be keeping Lionel Messi quiet, as well as Julian Alvarez. From a defender's perspective, what are they going to have to be thinking about ahead of this one?
Well, listen, it's nothing new at Messi. He's been around for 20 years and no one's found the answer really to stop him. You're up against genius, but there has to be a plan. I don't think it'll be a man-marking job from the England squad, but they will have to have a plan. I think the players will be expecting that. It's not sort of admitting defeat in any way, or if you have to change something slightly. I think even the England players will be expecting something from Anthony Barry and Thomas Tuchel, because you're coming up against arguably the greatest player of all time. Again, he's shown that in this tournament as well. So, England have to think about, something, how they're going to deal with them. But also, they should be thinking of a way how they can exploit Lionel Messi as well. He walks about when the opposition have got the ball. So that doesn't mean England's left-back should just, stand next to him for the whole game. You can exploit that. Because Argentina only defend with 9 outfield players, whereas most teams and the majority of teams in world football now defend with 10 outfield players. So that's something I think as well England have got to look to exploit.
And I suppose from an Argentina perspective, they're going to be thinking, how do we keep Jude Bellingham quiet? Is there anything they can do? What do you think they'll be thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's difficult to stop Jude Bellingham. I mean, he hasn't been at the top of the game as long as Messi, but he's certainly been around a long time now, and it is very difficult. I mean, I think he's a completely different player to Lionel Messi, who wants the ball to his feet between the lines, dribble and pass players, whereas Jude Bellingham's more powerful and making runs into the box and finishing. He crashes the box constantly. His timing's fantastic, and he always seems to finish. So, again, that's very difficult to stop. No one can stop Jude Bellingham running into the box. Whether they can pick him up, mark him a little bit more tightly within that box, remains to be seen. But listen, there's great attacking players on both sides, as there is tonight in the other semi-final, and that's why these are the best 4 teams in the world.
Jamie, what did you make of the post-match interview, both Thomas Tuchel's and Jude Bellingham, and this kind of spat that people are saying exists between Tuchel and Bellingham based on those comments? Harry Kane has played it down. What was your take on it?
Well, listen, I didn't think there was anything wrong at all with Thomas Tuchel's comments as well. He's probably a little bit emotional after the game. England didn't play particularly well and could have easily lost that game against Norway. You think if there was a spell, I think in extra time, where I was watching the game, Odegaard was starting to run the game, Norway at the bar, and you're thinking England's going to go out here. And again, a piece of magic from Jude Bellingham. So I totally understand Thomas Tuchel. And also, we know Thomas Tuchel, he was like that at Chelsea. That's one of his plus points. He tells you straight. We've seen it with Jed Spence in this tournament. In a World Cup, a manager's got to be decisive. He's got to make big decisions. He's got to tell people straight. You can't wait. This moment comes around again in 4 years' time in the World Cup. So things need to happen right away. So I thought the interview from the manager was brilliant. And with Jude, again, he's emotional after the game. He's just scored a couple of goals, and then he's realised how hard it was on the pitch, and you know, the conditions as well, some of the players they were up against that he mentioned as well. So I could understand that. But listen, for me, Thomas Tuchel was absolutely fine with that. It'd just be interesting to see what the reaction is. I think they'll both, or certainly the manager will be in front of the media today. But I'm sure they'll play it down because, as I said, you can't afford any rifts in the squad at this moment now. It's, you know, what's at stake is too big.
And we know all about this rivalry between England and Argentina over the years. We know that it's going to be a pretty feisty game based on that rivalry, based on the way that Argentina play. From a player's perspective, how easy, how hard is it to keep your cool in these kind of situations?
Yeah, I always think international football is a little bit different from club football, and that we sort of know everyone's rival in club football, and everyone has 3 or 4 of them. International football, it's a little bit different, and sometimes something sparks that, you know, that rivalry. Obviously, we go back to the early 80s, the Falklands War as well. Obviously, you have 1986, Maradona. But I think a lot of these players in the squad now, I mean, we're talking, you know, 40 years ago, are we? Almost, certainly over 40 years. So, I mean, a lot of the players in the squad now, it would be difficult for them to remember too much of what was going on in that day. But when you think of rivals England have, you naturally think of Scotland, Germany, for obvious reasons, and you also think of Argentina. So there are sort of 3 rivals, if you like, and probably when you beat them, it feels a little bit sweeter, and it feels a little bit worse when you lose.
Man for man, Jamie, who do you think has the strongest sides on paper right now?
Squad, I think it's a little bit different. When I'm talking about the 11, I'd say Argentina just, but very, very, very little in it. Probably 55-45. That, so when I'm saying a 50-50 game, I do think it is that really. But I think Argentina probably have the slight advantage in probably goalkeeper and centre-backs, I would probably say. I think the rest is probably a bit of a muchness usually in central midfield and in the attack. Obviously, they've got world-class players in the attack, so have we. I think we've got great midfield players, so if they, obviously, it's almost like a Premier League battle, really, isn't it, in midfield as well, the 4 midfielders who we think will come up against each other. So probably Argentina just, I would say.
And what about team decisions that Thomas Tuchel has to make? Who would you like to see start, particularly on the wings for England and in that right-back position?
Well, I think at the start of the tournament, it was a debate who was going to play right wing or left wing. I think the debate now is just who's going to play right wing, because I think Anthony Gordon's been fantastic in the last couple of games. I think he's nailed down that position now, so I don't think that is up for debate at all. I would go with Saka. I know he's not 100% fit. I think Madueke's had a lot of chances in this tournament. It hasn't quite happened for him. Saka certainly hasn't been at his best, but as we know, he's not 100% fit. But I'm just hoping with each minute or longer he's on the pitch, another appearance, we start to see a little bit of what we know of Bukayo Saka. But it's only him and the medical staff and the coaching team will know how right he is. But these are the games you take a chance in. I think at the start of the tournament, I don't think Saka started the first game, if I remember rightly. And that's understandable, because you think you don't want to risk him. There's 3 group games, there's a long way to go in the tournament. We're not at that stage right now. If he's right, or you think you can get something from him, you've got to pick him. There's no worrying about what comes after. I know it's a World Cup final after that, but it's too important, this game now.
And Jamie, England get a free kick on the edge of the box. Who do you want to see standing over it? Depends what side it is, I suppose. Harry Kane hit one over the bar, didn't he, the other day? I mean, can Declan Rice take one? Oh, you've threw me there a little bit. Bellingham. I mean, he has to be looking at it. I mean, it doesn't feel like England have a real free kick specialist. Maybe I forgot someone, but it feels like there's a lot of players in the team who can really give the ball a bit of a whack, so they can sort it out between themselves. But I think when you're in the form of Kane and Bellingham, I think it's going to take a lot to take them off it. Yeah, not a bad problem to have if there's a few people to choose from. What about the quality on the bench? Because particularly in that last game, we saw them make a real impact, the players that came in off the bench. Do you think that gives England a bit of an advantage if it does go into extra time?
Yes, I mean, I think it's fair to say the substitutions that Thomas Tuchel made in the last game could have easily gone wrong. At one stage, you're thinking this looks a little bit messy. And then they sort of fixed it and got themselves back on track. It was just an awkward situation where he ended up having to bring Anthony Gordon off. He was probably looking like England's most dangerous player because he had to get more control in the centre of midfield, and he couldn't bring Eze off and he couldn't bring Saka off because he just brought them on. So there was, it was a little bit awkward, but they ended up sorting it out eventually and getting there. But whether they've got the players on the bench to actually come on and win them the game or keep them in the game, there's different ways of looking at it. I mean, they've brought Dan Burn on, they've brought Jed Spence on at different times, and that's kept the result. I think it's different when you're talking about maybe going to win the game. So, they've got two brilliant strikers, Argentina. It looks like Alvarez has got the shirt at the moment. So Martinez, Inter Milan's striker, one of the best strikers in Europe, to come off the bench to try and go and win the game if they have to, Argentina, is probably a little bit more, I would say, quality than what we've got to go and win the game from the bench. So we've certainly got players to keep the result. Whether we've got players to go and win us the result, I'm not so sure.
How nervous would you be if this one goes to penalties? Do you think either side has an advantage if that was the case?
Well, I think England have an advantage because Messi's not amazing at penalties, is he? That's probably the only one flaw that man has got, would you believe, in this in his career, and even in this tournament. I think has he missed two? He certainly missed one. I think he might have missed two in the tournament so far as well. But I think it will be a toss of the coin because I think Jordan Pickford's got a really good record at saving penalties for England as well. But Martinez is a real size, and you can imagine the antics he'd be getting up to as well in a penalty shootout. So again, I think that will be a toss of a coin.
Where will you be watching the game tomorrow, Jamie? Hopefully not behind your sofa.
No. I'll be watching it on the sofa at home. I'm not interested in going to the pub when the game's this important, and you really want to concentrate and watch the game. Difficult to watch it in the boozers, so I'll be watching it at home.
What about tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, just going to say, what about tonight then? Because obviously France...
I was going to say on Sky then, but it's not on Sky, is it?
No, that's why I was trying to interrupt you. Let's quickly move on to the next question. France-Spain tonight, Jamie. I presume you'll be watching that one as well. Who do you think is going to edge it tonight?
I think France will edge it. I will try and watch it because I'm going to a wedding this afternoon of a lovely couple in Liverpool, so I'll be going there this afternoon. But I will keep an eye on it. I'll try and watch it as much as I possibly can. But I think France have looked the best team. I mean, France have certainly got the best individuals. That is, there's no doubt about that. Spain as a team are fantastic and get the absolute most out of what they've got. Yamal is probably the only superstar in the tournament who hasn't yet come to the party. We've seen glimpses of it. That might happen tonight. I hope it does, because he's fantastic. But I just think France, right now, looking at them, look like one of the best international teams I've seen for a very long time. And if they could go on and win it, I think we'd remember them as one of the best we've seen for a long time. When you think of that, attacking from four, it's absolutely sensational. So I think whoever is in the final will be big favourites, whether they come up against Argentina or England.
Jamie, just away from the World Cup, what about Arne Slot? Because a candidate to be the next Netherlands manager, do you think that would be a good move for him?
Yeah, why not? Listen, he came to the Premier League. He'd be disappointed with what happened last season, but he was in the Premier League 2 years. He won the Premier League in his first season. He had the courage to take over from Jurgen Klopp. So I'll never forget what he did for Liverpool. It was absolutely, fantastic. And hopefully it goes well for him when you've been part of Liverpool, whether you're a player or the manager and you move on. We always hope they do well. Not everybody, but 99% of them, we hope they do well in the next job. Looks like Jurgen Klopp's going to get the German job, and I think there is a fixture very early next season between Germany and Holland in, I think, maybe the Nations League. So that might be something to keep an eye on.
And just finally, because I know you've got to get suited and booted for this wedding this afternoon, but we heard from Antonio Raiola for the first time yesterday.
A smart T-shirt.
Yeah, you need to keep cool. He said that Liverpool need to sign more players. Do you think that is the real priority for Raiola then?
Yes, we know that because Liverpool have lost players. Liverpool was short on numbers last season and have still lost, I think, 3 players in Mo Salah, Konate and Andy Robertson. And you'd imagine 1 or 2 would still be sold. That's the nature of football. So you're probably looking at Liverpool needing to bring in 4 or 5 players, I would say. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they'd all go into the starting 11, but they need a stronger squad. You look at Arsenal last season winning the league. people say not an outstanding team, but certainly an outstanding squad, and had lots of players to come in at different times. So that's where Liverpool was certainly lacking last season.
Jamie, always a pleasure to speak